Hi guys, we were coming to you from my backyard today because why not? It's a beautiful day and I've got a project for you, and there's no better place to do it, I don't think, than out on the deck enjoying the sun while it's here with us. So as you may or may not know, June is Seniors Month, and typically if the Senior Center were operating as usual, Nikki would have all kinds of great stuff planned for you. And one of the things we were going to offer this spring was a make your own seashell wreath workshop. So we were going to do something like this. So unfortunately, obviously, with COVID and the shutdown and everybody quarantining, that's not a possibility, but it doesn't mean that you still can't be taught how to make the wreath and make it on your own. Okay, so today I'm going to go over with you everything that you need to make it, and then if you can get the supplies and you want to make it along later, you can just revisit this video and kind of go step by step. So let's start off with your supplies. So one thing you're going to need is a wreath form. So this one is actually really neat. This came from Dollarama, and as you can see, it's kind of like a rope or a jute twine looking kind of wreath form. I've never used this kind before, but I think I'm going to give it a try. I think it's going to add a really nice rustic seaside kind of vibe. However, if you can't find that, some dollar stores also have these green like compacted styrofoam ones that work just fine. So you can use either of those, but they're both about the same size. This is about a 12-inch diameter wreath. Okay. You're also going to need, of course, seashells. Now, dollar stores, again, sell bags of shells. What I didn't find this time around was bags of mixed shells, which is the best way to go. But so what I did instead was I got 3 bags of different shells. So we've got like a pretty orange scallop shells, and we've got some of these kind of neat green-gray looking, almost look like a snail shell. And then there's some of these pointy ones. There's all different sizes of shells in each bag. So really that's all you need. And I got 3, which would be plenty. If you can find one big bag of mixed shells, that's probably going to be enough, but you also don't want your shells to be too big. You want them on the smaller side to go with the scale of your wreath. Okay, you're going to need a hot glue gun for sure, and some glue sticks. I have seen people try and do these wreaths with E6000 glue, and although I'm sure it would probably work and it would be very secure once it was dry, I think it would be a pain to wait long enough for the E6000 to grab onto whatever surface you were using. So I would just go with hot glue, it's easier. You're also going to need a bag of, whoops, spill them everywhere, marbles, or you know, the little flat back glass. Usually they have them in clear and white and green and blue at the dollar store. Just something that gives it a sea glass look. If you have some sea glass kicking around from your travels, that would be pretty to use too, so you can use that. These 2 next things are completely optional, but I'm going to use them in mine. Number 1 is a starfish. You can get these by the bag, and I think also just individually down at the anchor shop in town. At least you could before all of this stuff started. So this is one that I had on hand, so I'm going to use that. And I always like to finish my wreaths off with a nice little bow. So this ribbon came from the dollar store in the Tillsonburg Town Center, the Dollar Tree, I think that one is. I bought 2 different spools of ribbon, and I just used a pipe cleaner to make myself, to twist it all together. You need to make a good full ribbon, about 9 feet of ribbon. So just bear that in mind when you're shopping for ribbon if you're going to do that, but it's completely optional. The only other thing you will need, and I had them here somewhere, but you will need 1 extra pipe cleaner to make a loop that you can hang your wreath from on your door or your wall. So let's get started, and we will come up with some variation on this. Okay guys, so there's any number of ways you can make this wreath, and you can be completely creative in how you do it. As you can see with the one that I had, before, I covered basically the entire front and sides of the wreath, the whole thing all the way around. I left the back flat so that when you would hang it on the wall, you wouldn't have the shells creating, you know, distance and gap between your walls. So I would say leave it clear on the back no matter what design you do. But there's no saying you have to cover the whole thing. It might be very pretty to just take your wreath and focus on the bottom or the bottom half, or even a left or right half of your wreath. So I'm going to just get started, and we're going to see sort of what we end up with. Excuse me. All right. So I've got my shells here at the ready, and you're just going to basically glue your shells and your glass and everything else onto your wreath. You want to make sure you get enough glue on your shells so that they stick well, but you also want to not scald yourself either. So I'm just picking a random spot on the front, and I'm just applying the glue, and I'm just going to sort of make my way around, filling up, and I don't know if I'm going to do the whole wreath covered, or if I just want to do it, you know, half or a portion of the wreath. These ones are going to be a little trickier because they are domed on the back. You don't have a lot of flat area to glue to, but we're going to do our best. If you had shells that you had picked up on a trip of your own, this would be a great way to use those, and a nice memory of your trip as well. Something like this is really easy too, because you can put this together in an afternoon. It does not take a lot of time, and it makes a really nice gift for someone. So I'm just sort of holding in. Now I'm working on, I just glued in one of the glass beads, and I just want to make sure I hold it there long enough for the glue to adhere. And you can add as many shells or glass beads as you think it needs. Now I'm going to fill in a little bit more, but here's sort of where we're going so far. So I'm going to continue doing that, and I will check back with you when I have a little bit more of my design done. Okay. So I've been working away at my design here, and I'm going to show you what I've done so far. Yours doesn't have to look like this, but this is where I am at. Okay, so I've got shells applied to probably 2/3 of this wreath, and I think I'm going to leave it there. I think for me that's where I want my design to end, but you can keep going and cover your whole thing. I just really like this wreath form, and I think it's going to be kind of neat if we can see that. So what I've done here is I have taken just a pipe cleaner, and I've put it on top, and I've just kind of twisted the ends to make a loop that is substantial that we can hang this on. And then I'm going to take my ribbon. Now what I did was I did want to use my starfish, so I hot glued my starfish right in the center of my ribbon, and I'm just going to wind it around my wreath and twist with those pipe cleaners so that it's very secure. Again, no right way or wrong way to do this, as long as it's secure enough that when you hang it on the wall, it's not going to fall down and go boom. You don't want that. Right, twist, twist, twist. Okay, give my ribbon a bit of a fluff. And there's our finished product. So it looks very different from the first one that I did as a test model here. Very different. I mean, the ribbon is the same and some of the shells are the same, but it looks very different because it's fully covered. But again, you can do whatever you want. So I hope you have enjoyed this little Make It Along With Me project, and wish we could be there to celebrate Seniors Month with you guys in person, but because we can't, this will maybe be the next best thing, so I hope you guys will try this at home. If you do, be sure to post a photo or let us know how your wreath turned out. Okay? Thanks. Bye now.